Hello, welcome to Visions Now, Power to the People News Network. And of course, today we're going to be participating in a tabletop discussion here in Columbus, Georgia. They've been going on all over town, but we're going to participate here at Masjid El Jannah, and where we're going to have an interfaith as well as interracial discussion about what kind of problems do we have in our community. And there's a lot of very interesting people here today. We hope that you're going to enjoy the discussion. If you can't watch it all right now, we'll come back and watch it in pieces. But it's very, very important that we get engaged and understand what some of the voices are and some of the perspectives. So again, we hope to do more and more and more of this on the street type news, because we know that you know that there are some real problems in this community and that we have to be engaged, but we have to know what we're doing before we do what we know how to do. So I'm Dr. J. Aleem Hud, as you know, executive producer, and of course this is Visions Now. And of course we'd like to thank you, and always want to say, Pamoja Shusha Shindaru Satsu Watu Azuri, meaning we're beautiful people, and of course freedom now will come if we work together. So again, settle back and relax and enjoy this event called Round Table Talk. It's not the red table that you might hear about, but this is really a round table here in Columbus, Georgia. Thank you, enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you at more occasions like this. Good evening.
Hello, Deacon Michael Sapp here, inviting you to continue to support and give praise to the New Way to Live gospel program.
On the table event, we are honored to have you here. And I want to recognize Reverend Grace Burton here from St. Thomas Episcopal Church. And she has her congregation, among the congregation, be here. And also Rabbi Beth Shorts from Temple Israel. Also Reverend Cox, Gerard. So, do you have anyone from your congregation? Oh, okay, very good. Good. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And also Miss Betsy Covington from the Chattahoochee Foundation. That's right. That's right. Community Foundation. Sorry, Community Foundation of Chattahoochee. Bad. Thank you so much. And Imam Yahya Islam from Masjid Noor here we have. Oh, please speak up. So, and also the rest of the distinguished guests and everybody here, we are honored to have you here. So thank you so much.
That's it then.
And what I want to talk about, first of all, we just want to start this in the name of God. In the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful. We start this gathering and we ask God to bless us, bless this gathering that we are here, and we ask His wisdom to guide us, that we can be beneficial to our community in Columbus and bring more peace and understanding. So that's our prayers from God tonight. Amen. So we want to talk about on the table event, and I don't know if everybody knows what it is. It's the national initiative funded by Knight Foundation, and also locally here has been led by the Community Foundation of Chattahoochee Valley. And we thank you for organizing this nationwide event. And I know that some of you are talking about, it's very difficult because it's during the work day and it's hard for us to attend and everything, but that said, it's nationwide. It's not just Columbus here, so, and it's not this event. It has been everywhere today. There are so many different settings and different organizations, City of Columbus and government and other entities, and they have been having this gathering today, this event. And so we are here to, that part of the community, to get together and see what our strengths are, and also to help make communication and make our city better. So this is the intention. Now, you see on the tables that you are, we have the, I'm not going to talk about surveys already at the end, but there is some information we have from the three traditions, some of the passages from our holy books that you can see that. And so you're welcome to read that. And also on the back of it, we have the questions. And these are the questions that we want to concentrate on and work on, which is basically tonight getting to know your neighbors, and also what can you do to be, or what is the definition of a good neighbor, and everything else that you can read on those questions in that regard. And also, I just wanted to mention, before we start the event and the conversation, it's time now, actually it's past time. Muslims, they pray 5 times a day, and one of the prayers is at the sunset. So this is the time that we have to perform this prayer, and it's not long. So I have talked about before, Reverend Grace and Rabbi, that it would probably altogether would be about 10 minutes. So we are going to go pray in the main mosque, and everybody else, you're welcome to come. We have chairs there. You can sit and observe, or if you like, to participate, you are welcome. And we stand shoulder to shoulder, toe to toe, and of course, the men are separated from women because of the time of prayer and concentration, just the as the communication with the Creator. So. And if you don't want to come, that's fine, no problem. And please enjoy all the food and everything that our sisters that have provided. So feel free. Any of this two options you want to choose. So if anybody, if you don't have anything else to add, what we would like to go ahead and go pray and quickly back, maximum 10 minutes, and then we'll start.
The native of Columbus. As I say, I was raised in Columbus, but I grew up in Detroit. Oh my God! So kind of by city like that. Right. But I could not finish my life journey without coming back to Columbus, and that was about 40 years ago when I came back, and because I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to stay in Columbus, or I was going to go to Atlanta like everybody else. But so happened that I met a good friend of mine, and we started a jazz society and some other things around here. So I understand. So here I am today. Now we're going to begin with, I guess it's okay. I'll spell my left. So that I get to And what brought you to the table today?
I'm Martha Robert, and I've participated in On the Table for these 3 years. I'm the director at Chattahoochee Valley Episcopal Ministry and Interfaith Relationships, Building Interfaith Relationships and Solidarity for the work that we do. So I couldn't not be here. I'm also mandatory. Even though I'm on leave of absence from work. This was the one thing, there are two things actually I said that I wanted to be a part of even while I was out of work, but then this being one of them. And I'm also a member of St. Thomas Episcopal Church. I've been here a little over 5 years. And you were talking about whether you're going to go to Atlanta or not. I was in Atlanta over 26 years and decided I had to get out of the gravitation. It was killing my soul. Apparently you have to go 2 hours ahead to get out of it. So I really like it.
By the way, St. Thomas used to have some luncheons in school too. I don't know. They used to have luncheons.
In Advent, which is basically the Mondays in December. So they'll be coming.
Okay, I look forward to it.
I was actually named after my mother's original last name.
But you're trying to get my brown eyes.
We would love to see that on the video.
I'm gonna move to the next.
Good. My name is Elizabeth Graham, and I grew up in, lifelong resident of Columbus. I grew up in Washington, D.C. and for a long time, my husband and I went to St. Paul United Methodist Church, but we recently gone back to Trinity, and I was thinking, are you working for the Department of Health?
That's the key. That's the key. No doubt. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I am April Jacobs. I am also at St. Thomas. I grew up in Smith Station, Alabama, just across the river.
Oh yeah, now it's a city now.
Yes, it's its own city now. I left to go away for college for a few years, but I came back. I am in the next 2 weeks becoming a resident of Columbus, Georgia, and I'm very excited about that.
The rent got too high over this station.
You know, I found a place in Columbus I could afford that's really convenient, and I'm very I am here because I have a vested interest in interfaith connectedness and activities. I am the assistant director of the Thompson-Town Art Program, which is hosted by CVEM, but is a camp for children during the summer where we celebrate interfaith activities. And I'm also just personally an advocate for social justice in general. So yeah, happy to be
Part
here.
of Indivisible.
Oh, indivisible.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not.
Tell
You
me
need
about
to
it.
be. And Pasamigos also. I'm Doug McLeod. I'm a lifelong resident of Columbus, and I'm a member at Trinity. I'm so glad to see another person from Trinity. I thought I'll be the only one tonight. But anyway, I wish we were more proactive as St. Thomas is. But anyway, maybe we'll get there.
She came back to Trinity, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to get Reverend Graham
So she's
to
going to
announce
get
this.
proactive now.
He doesn't.
She's doing
But anyway,
We'll talk.
yeah. We need to and pray too. But anyway, I've participated the last 2 years. I was at First Baptist as a table host the first year, St. Luke last year, and I just think we need more effective dialogue between all people in Muskogee County. I really do. I'm very concerned about it, and I love Columbus. Thank you.
Bueno, ¿hablo en español o solamente en inglés?
Solamente en inglés, por favor.
Bueno, ¿usted me puede traducir?
Inglés, por favor.
I'm not from Hamtramck.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Chip, and you are watching New Way to Live Network. Bang.
In a productive part of trying to stem what we call in the Navy circular torpedo run.
That's not good.
I'm Gina Block. I grew up here until I was about 25. I'm still growing up here. Then moved to Houston, decided it was time to come back, and I dragged him with me. And I feel that face-to-face dialogue is the best way for rest is ahead.
Amen.
All the parties we're having today. So glad to be here.
All right.
I was told I couldn't sit next to my husband. I had to find another table.
Oh my goodness. Is he being rude, passing, burping, or doing something?
Well,
We won't go into that.
yeah,
Right, that's right.
we won't go into that.
Now, we're going to move into our hopes for our community now in the long term. And what I would like is that let's try 2 minutes. If you need an extension from there, then I'm sure we'll consent to that. Let's start there. And,
What's the question?
Our hopes.
what are your hopes for our community now and in the long term?
2 minutes ain't gonna cut it.
I know. Just open
We don't want to spend the night.
Open it, right. Open the statement.
The place I've gotten in terms of social justice and the work that CVM does is that I'm really convinced that I, particularly as a white Christian, someone with lots of privilege in this society, in our country, that I have a responsibility to be uncomfortable a lot, to make myself uncomfortable, and to go to places where I'm not necessarily the majority, and that kind of thing, and to have difficult conversations, and to be as authentic as I can in those conversations. And so I think that's what I hope for Columbus, is that more and more people can. So that more and more white folks can understand that, and Christians can understand that we have a responsibility. I think there's a growing awareness in our country, and we have a responsibility to not have somebody who's in a minority position to tell us what to do, and to have these kinds of conversations about what it means to be neighbors with one another.
That's right. Interact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all about relationship.
It is.
That's
It
it.
is.
Bottom line.
Exactly.
I went to my son's graduation from Wofford College this May. It was wonderful. He had a wonderful experience. But the graduation, actually the baccalaureate ceremony had the neatest thing. They had a Jewish boy, a Chinese girl, Muslim boy or girl, and a Christian. All read from their book of scriptures, the Golden Rule, basically. And they read it in the native language, and then they read it in English. And it highlighted the fact that we're more alike than we're different.
Amen.
That was just a very moving part. I bet they do it every year, and I think everybody, all graduations need to do that. So we need to learn from each other. That was what I was getting at.
Yeah.
My hopes for the community are about continuing these conversations and not just talking about it, but getting to a place of action so that Columbus is a safe and welcoming place to be for everyone. I believe a lot of that comes through the children and the youth. And I believe that intergenerational activities also would be helpful. And I would have some hopes that we could have some intergenerational on the table interfaith events, or that we might have some intergenerational TAP stuff.
We have an elderly gentleman here.
I was gonna say,
We've got generation. I'm sure you.
Sí, por supuesto.
We were speaking of something you said driving out tonight. This is the third year we've had this event. But I personally have not seen a lot of effectiveness after this is over with. I think we need to, and I know talk is cheap, that's an old Southern expression, but I think we really need to put feet, there's an old Southern expression, put feet to your prayers. Well, put feet to what we're trying to do for our city and the different communities, you know, and not let this be just a one-day event. I think that ride-through that the city government had the other day to let people see the different areas of Columbus. Some of them had never been in those areas, and that's no criticism. But we need to know, we see it in the paper, we hear it on television, and one thing we've got to do, and I know again talk is cheap, we've got to stop the murders.
Yes.
I mean, we've had more as of today than we had the entire year, and it has nothing to do who's mayor. There's a lot of talk generated about our former mayor. Nobody's perfect, but the mayor has nothing to do with the murders. That's an individual person that's doing the murders. That has nothing to do with the mayor or elected officials. You know? And we've got to do something to, and I know it's not easy, but we've got to do something to try to curb it somewhere.
A quick overview. I'm retired military. I've lived everywhere in the world. Columbus is the best place I've ever lived.
Amen.
That's cool.
I've lived in Europe, Africa, the Far East, South America. There is something about the small town, uncosmopolitan but sophisticated environment in which we live. So in general, this is a very positive place to be, very low on the horizon, but at the same time, the general issue across the board that troubles me is our deteriorating American culture. Our kids are dumber than doormats. Our schools are not teaching them anything academically or morally or intellectually, and they're going out into the world being important unto themselves with any perspective of community. And so I think that what we folks can do, particularly old folks like me, is to encourage you young people to create some dynamic that reinvigorates, reinstalls the community perspective in our youth. If this does it, God bless, let's do it together.
Amen.
If it's just one more wasted round of conversation, then I'll go back to my cloistered environment.
No such thing.
What's no such thing?
Wasted conversation.
Mija, pero no sabes tú todo totalmente.
Well, maybe that's wasted because I don't
Yeah,
understand
that's the
it.
problem.
Now I see why you sit at a different table.
There was some wisdom in that, was it?
Well, I'm going to put a positive spin on it. I've been gone from here for 30 plus years, and I do see change here. It's probably taken a long time to get where we are, but things do seem to be better than they were when I was growing up, and I think schools are where we start. Family should be first, but schools have picked up a lot of slack.
Yes, too much.
But you know, speaking of schools, and I couldn't be a teacher because I'd probably end up, I was at the jail today, but I'd probably be a resident at the jail. You know, there was people we had respect for. Our minister, our teachers, our parents. You would never dishonor a teacher by your verbiage in school. If you did, woe be unto you. And like he was just saying, they're not, children are not being taught just basic English grammar. You don't end a sentence, where are you at? My daddy would say, between the A and the T. You don't do that. If you'd had Nancy Salter for a 7th and 8th grade English teacher, honey, you had a St. Elmo,
She taught with
her. Honey, she put the fear of God in you. But, and I don't have perfect English, but I thank God every day for the teachers, and I almost can name them from kindergarten through Columbus High School. Roberta Lawrence is another one at Columbus High School. I mean, you learn.
She was left-handed.
You learn learned. It was just.
You're 2 minutes. I think.
All right.
What about you? What's your
Yes, of course. I guess I have the disadvantage, I guess, of having lived and come out, been in academia to also study civilizations from the beginning of time. I've traveled the world, and I've been able to also understand what the dynamics are in American society. One of the things that I guess is that we have to understand is that one is that going back to what you mentioned, that's very important because the world, Caucasian, white people are the minority in the world. That's the reality. And one of the things about it is that there have been different points in what we call the journey of civilization. And in American society, unfortunately, and one of the questions asked about what does being a good neighbor look like in your tradition? And the fact of the matter is that I have a phrase that I use oftentimes, and that is that you cannot fix lies. You can only fix the ugly truth, the naked, ugly truth. But as long as we are trying to fix a lie, or a fairy tale, or a fable, we will never be successful. So with that having been said, one of the things, I'm a psychologist, and one of the things that we understand very clearly is that there was a point in time, there have been different points in time in American society, especially between the early 1900s and say the 50s. I think was the glory period of American society.
When was that?
From the early 1900s to the 1950s.
Okay.
Now, during that time, most ethnic groups had their own social and economic dynamics, yet we also interacted. But once the 60s and 70s came in, it became more strange. So I think that when we talk about our particular traditions, our texts, and of course we have three traditions here, I guess, in terms of texts. Of course, there's the Islamic tradition, there's the Christian, there's the Jewish tradition, and there's a text that we all lean on for that. What does our text offer for the problems that we see? Because having studied and having taught world religions and philosophy, it seems to me that we have gotten away from the prophetic traditions and the prophecy and the prophets of old in terms of what they taught about what we should be doing. We're not doing that. We've kind of come up with our own, and we call it Christianity, we call it Islam, we call it Judaism, but we're not really living what the prophets, because the prophets didn't make the distinctions and the divisions that we make. In fact, all those things in perspective. So I think that let's start over here this time. Within your tradition and the problems that we've expressed here, what stands out in your mind as to what are solutions that are offered in your particular religious text or your tradition?
I think the most obvious is doing to others as you would have others do. All faiths, at least represented here.
I apologize. I want to interject something just for everybody to keep in mind. If you see anything, any action that we really can take together, a good example, like we built the Habitat House
20 years ago.
We did have the first one.
That's right. Yeah. And so if there's anything that you all can think of, whether that could be done together as far as getting together for whatever, building something or
Feeding someone.
whatever. Yes. All this stuff. Please mention that.
One of the things that he's already mentioned is that these cannot be just from this time to next year.
No, we've got to put some
something has to
faith
happen
to
in
it.
between.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If we're going to have together regularly, get together,
Yeah.
even if it is to share, eat something,
Yeah. Don't leave out to eat now. That's good. Yeah.
We're doing it at your house.
Yeah, we'll come.
The most gracious host.
Coming along, of course, is that something you'd like to add to that?
Let me.
I'm sorry, were you finished?
Yes. What can I say?
I'm the Jewish lay leader at Fort Benning. Until recently, we had no uniformed rabbi chaplain. We have one of females just reported on board. But one of the things that I deal with these troops with all the time is something very basic. In Judaism, every man or woman, man means man and woman, every man has a direct relationship with God. There are no intermediaries. No intermediaries in Judaism between man and God. And God commands us all to follow certain rules that are set down, to work as God's partner to make the world a better place. That's the bottom line. He doesn't say specifically who the better place should be for, to make the world a better place so we can all live well together. And that's what we take away from it all, irrespective of the parsing that we all do of some of the scripture and the double entendres and the other meanings that are given to things. The bottom line is, all of that is to make the world a better place. And how do we do that? We get together and we make the world a better place. We educate, we dispel stupidity to the extent that you can, and we get everybody with their hands on the wheel with the same objective mission. In the military, before we take any action at all, we always first define the mission. We don't just begin to talk and dribble and gossip. What are we trying to accomplish? All too often that doesn't happen in American discourse. We're all talking about something without defining what it is we're trying to determine, create, understand.
Thank you. Same question from your tradition. What concept stands out that you think that addresses or can address the problem that you have identified?
I think having empathy and understanding for each person, to the extent they'll let you understand them. Some people, it's hard to understand, but I think we have to go the second mile to try to have empathy and understanding. And just like at Trinity, our former minister, we started feeding the needy every Sunday morning. This year concludes our 10th year with that. And to my knowledge, on Sunday morning, there's very few places that feed the homeless. So we average between 85 and 125 every Sunday. But I think reaching out to the people, just like somebody said today about coming over, I said I was at the jail today, and the first question the person asked, well, did you speak to any of the inmates? And we did not. It was a wonderful discussion we had today, and we toured the jail, those that wanted to. But I agree with this person. If we could have had, and I know you just can't have anybody or any inmate and have a conversation. You got to use what little brain power we have. But maybe some of the trustees or somebody, I think, would have been an effective way to converse with them. I think that needs to be thought about in the future. But it was a very positive time down there.
You mentioned that we meet once a year and then we meet again the following year. Well, last year I saw Betsy put it on Facebook or something that the Community Foundation offered grants for projects that started on the table. So it's for some.
Hello, my name is Star Thomas, owner and operator here at North Plumpkin Beauty and More, and today we'd like to welcome you. I would like to welcome you to Columbus, Georgia's first and only black-owned beauty supply, shop, and fashion clothing store. We're open from Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. We carry virgin hair, Remy hair, and natural hair products with brands like Milky Way, Saga, JBS, and more. If you are looking for competitive pricing, boutique clothing, hair care products, and a beauty shop all under one roof, then stop in today. Mention this commercial to receive your 10% off.
North Lumpkin Beauty and More, 3448 North Lumpkin Road, Columbus, Georgia. Call us today, 706-221-5243.
We can't fix lies. And so I remember growing up in a different brand of Christianity where my folks are good people, and they would take food to people who were sick or to a funeral, and it's just what you did. And I heard lots of preaching about love. But when someone didn't fit the mold, I didn't see it in practice.
Yeah.
And it made me very sad, even as a child. And I heard a lot of, I'll say ineffective for me, when people didn't know what to say or how to help. My mother's the worst one. She'll say, well, I'm going to pray about that for you. Rather than just saying, honey, I don't know. Let's go see if we can find somebody else to talk to about this. Let's see if we can find an answer. And that's sort of like putting feet to your prayers.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and there's more to it than just praying.
That's right. Which I have finally, after 30 some odd years, been able to say to my
I know where you're coming from.
I did too. That's what I was talking about. Part of what I see now in the Episcopal Church, again, I'm going to say my Episcopal Church, because I can't speak for all of them, is this movement towards love, the way of love. Bishop is talking about it all the time, the way of love. And that involves being genuine and authentic so that we're not trying to fix lies. But it also is about being empathetic and going the extra mile to understand people. And it's also talking about being active and having a mission and going forward and doing that. And so that's, I think, coming from a tradition where being a good neighbor was just what you did, and not really understanding the motivation, it's just what you did. Now a good neighbor looks much more intentional to me and authentic and genuine.
No, I didn't have anything to say. Well, in that, I've got all kinds of things going on. It's not good when I'm last. I've got all kinds of things I want to respond to. Oh, okay. There's a book that an Episcopal priest wrote called Holy Envy, and she is a professor at Piedmont College in North Georgia, and which is a very rural area, and she teaches a comparative religion class, and she's been doing it for over 10, I think almost 15 years or something. And she's a beautiful writer, and it's this wonderful story. And so we're going through that at St. Thomas, and we actually had a session today, and we talked about the way of love, and that we talked about the century of Christian evangelism and missionary work that was very much connected to colonialism and lots of really harmful things done in the name of Christianity, and a whole lot around that. But the way of love, if you saw the royal wedding, Harry and Meghan, it was our presiding bishop, Michael Curry, who preached and preaches the way of love. And his message is, his interpretation of our scripture is, this is what Jesus calls us to do. This is, if you're a Christian, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And that this is evangelism, not to make somebody else Christian, but to be a witness of how we understand God calling us to love. And something that you said about our scriptures, and let's see, and that am I right in saying that all three of our traditions, our scriptures are, we view our scriptures as intended to be guides, holy guides for how to bring God's world,
Look at the reality. We all come from a single string that broke off in little pieces.
Right.
Judaism begat Christianity, begat Islam. So we're all interpreting from a basic tenet, which we need to go back to.
And we get so many different places, and really, when the interpretation isn't about love, isn't a starting place of love. That's when I have a hard time.
And let me go back a little bit here. The concept, I have a spiritual tradition and I have a religious tradition. My spiritual tradition is deals with the principles of Mayat. M-A-A-T, will translate. The principles of Mayat. And there are 42 principles of Mayat, and they precede all of the three branches that we talk about. But the foundation of them are justice, truth, order, and equity. Justice, truth, order, and equity. And Mayat means balance. Balance. Now, part of the problem is that there's the concept in Islam, and it's not just in Islam, but that's my tradition now. But of course, that has been an evolution for me. I grew up in the Methodist tradition, but it just so happened that my mother's family was AME, my father was Baptist. I went to a Christian college, and I studied Old Testament and the New Testament. Then when I went to university, I studied all the major religions of the world, including Judaism, Taoism, you name it. Okay. Now, but my point is to say we were made, there's a verse that says we were made different. We were made different in tribes so that we would know each other. Mellow on that, getting back to the issue about diversity. We were made different so that we may know each other. And I was just thinking today in one of my groups that I was doing that in a forest, you have pine trees, you have oak trees, you have maple trees, you have a variety of trees. That's diversity. They all come from the earth level. They all come, and the pine tree is not hating on the oak tree is not, and as a matter of fact, in their strength, they make each other strong. But somehow, when man has gotten away from the order, that whatever spring has sprung, that it came from a root. All of these are branches of a more central order in life. Even to the point that, to me, that the order that I get out of Islam is, because first of all, going back to you mentioned, there's no hierarchy in Islam. As a matter of fact, Islam as a concept does not connect with no individual or group. Now, there are Mohammedans, you see, but Islam means submission to the universal order. That means it's that universal law that all of us, regardless of what faith we have, that's Islam as I understand it. So the point is that if we can come back to understand the beauty of each of our distinctions, as opposed to feeling insecure or feeling better, we can't be better, because there's a verse that the prophet had mentioned was that the best among you is the one who is the best servant. The best among you is the one who serves the best. It's not my faith. If you serve the best, then it ain't got nothing to do with my faith. If you serve the best, ultimately, you are an expression of what you say you believe. So therefore, that's where ultimately we have to go, and that who serves the best. Because if you look at all the prophets, they came to do what? To serve. And that's what they admonished us to do.
Without denigrating somebody who wears a different badge than you do.
Exactly.
Which is not what we do.
Exactly. And so, but that's when man gets in. And it seems to me that the biggest problem that we have is that all the faiths, when you get into the root, honors creation.
Same concept.
Honors creation. So we all, by nature of that embrace, are procreationists. but somewhere along the line, you know, it's like anything goes. But that just doesn't order.
No absolutes.
You see, and so I just think personally that we have to do some reformation of our faith. You know, sometimes we take on traditions, but the tradition was something that came out of man, and they were good for time, but we had to go back to the root of why these traditions. They're ultimately about life. I wonder many times why we go out to outer space and when we get the ocean is becoming intoxicated. Why we spending billions of dollars to go out of space and we can't have decent water to drink? Yeah. To me, that just seems kind of something that's
priorities.
Yeah, that don't seem like that's out of order.
Like some ego got in the way?
We're first. Mission objective. Mission objective.
So I guess what I'm saying is that I see more in common in the roots of the faith, and then those who brought the faith. They were one continuous throne of voice. There was no competition between Abraham and Moses, or even Muhammad and Jesus. I mean, there was no competition there. From what I've read, they came. There was a cultural. There might be some cultural distinctions,
but there was a continuity.
There's a continuity. Exactly.
And they would be the first ones to say, love everybody.
My oh my, where have we gone?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What have we done?
So therefore, getting back to what you talk about the killings, you know, I did my research on that. I mean, I know why they exist, but we have to be honest about why they exist. Benign neglect is what happens. Okay, and let me just share this something because I always believe in again truth. In this, and maybe you know, the advantage is this. In my case, as a person of African descent, we were exposed to every tradition in American society. But many times, people in those traditions were not exposed to us. You follow me? I remember I used to look at the show. What's the little girl name? The little girl you do on the plantation. What's her name?
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember, you know, it was always, you know, the African Americans at that time, they would come from the back and they were doing things, etc. But they knew the world of everybody because they were serving people in all over the world. But the people didn't know what was going on back out there. Now some people realized what was going on across the tracks. You know, that's where jazz came from. That's where blues came from. That's why our culture. When we talk about American culture, it came from across the tracks when you take it. You follow me? So what I'm saying though is that somehow we have to say we bring out the best in each other or we bring out the worst in each other. That was the time we brought out the best in each other. Okay? But today it seems like we're bringing out the worst in each other. So is it our faith that causes that, or is it have we failed our faith?
It's not faith or the individual, because the individual is not educated sufficiently enough to make that distinction. We live in a deteriorating culture.
Right, exactly.
Our culture has created the circumstance where, irrespective of what your faith is, you're immediately in a different group, class, tribe, and therefore we are not brothers under the sky, because of the fact that we don't have the same label put on us. And it's a cultural dynamic. We've created a circumstance in America that is just is frightening. And I'm old and I'm saying that.
It seems to me that that's been the evolution of human development over eons. Yes, and we are so close, I think, to really recognizing.
No empire in the history of world dynamics has existed for more than 200 to 350 years. The Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Romans. 250 years, 300 years comes along, a culture is created, and the lowlives of that culture destroy it from within. Bingo.
Getting to what you said, I think if we look at creation, we see which in Christian tradition, I know it as it's been termed as the first Bible, the first scripture is creation,
That's what I'm talking about.
and if you look at, I mean, science has got it better than a lot of religious folks do, I think, or theological folks or whatever, and see the diversity the diversity and the unity, and it's getting to where those words are kind of throwaway catchwords, but it's what it is. It's what it is.
That's the problem. We have balkanized
and
in
that
our
human
culture.
beings are the ones who have sinned against.
We have taken a stand
The way
that doesn't
we've been
allow us
created.
to work outside of our, what shall I say, predetermined boundaries, whatever the hell those are.
Well, I think what you said is beautiful, that I think we were created differently to learn from one another.
Just like males and females. My whole contention is that in order to truly be a man, then I must learn from a woman and a man. In order for you to be truly a woman, you gotta learn from a man and a woman. Because if I just learn from a man, I'm not learning the totality. So it's the same thing. As a human being, I have to learn from the Jewish tradition, I have to learn from the Christian tradition, I have to learn from the Islamic tradition, I have to learn from the Hindu tradition, I have to learn, in other words, I have to learn from all of those things in order to be a true human being. Because in all those things, we're eating some food here today. And food is a good example, right? You've been all over the world, and we found food everywhere you went that you liked. You see? That's diversity.
And it's the comfort level and being able to accept it. There's no reason why you, as a Muslim, cannot have a communal dialogue with a Christian or a Jew toward the same objective. There's no reason. Exactly. All the peripheral implications that make us different are marginal. Exactly. But we don't see it like that. We have balkanized ourselves to the extent that, well, look at the business today. I ran into a woman not too recently, and I said, "Good morning." And she said to me, "What do you mean by that?" Look, you people, you young people have created a whole new world out there. What do you mean by that? So we have got to get back to basics. And how do we get back to basics? We have the dialogue, and then what we have to do is inculcate, that's an SAT word, we have to inculcate our youth to be able to understand our concept. Because I deal with these basic trainees from 17 to 40, and they truly do not have broad perspectives. They all come from narrow, but the military forces them to take a different viewpoint than they did in their communities. And so there's possibility and opportunity in that circumstance, but not out on the streets of Columbus.
Part of the problem, again, in my expression, is that we have developed, as you mentioned before, a culture that is toxic. The culture worships youth.
Worships money.
Yeah, well,
themselves, individuals, however.
But my point is that people worship youth. We don't honor our elders. When you get old, into the side, or you don't, in other words, no, this is your elders are your treasures. In the African tradition, they say, there's a proverb that says, if you want to live to be 80, do you ask the 16-year-old? Do you ask the 16-year-old? If you want to live to be 80. So now you might have all the money in the world, but you might not live to be 80. So which is really important? Is life, or is it material gain?
Look at little things. You walk down the street and you see somebody throw a cigarette butt on the street.
Oh my Lord!
I have the inclination to pick the thing up and find a trash can to put it.
And
So
quite
it is.
frankly,
It's the last two generations. Your mama's generation.
If I can just throw a little bit back at you, I also think it goes both ways.
Yes.
I don't think that our elderly population and my parents' generation were taught how to respect their children and therefore teach their children how to respect them.
You're watching Visions Now on New Way for Life Television Network.
That they were taught how to treat their children as individuals rather than less than.
Okay.
And I'm not saying everybody.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I want to go back to what he was saying. That is, the more we have become assimilated into this American culture, the less we've been like that. The further you go back, now my parents did.
Mine did too.
Your grandparents, I mean, at least can't speak for you, but my grandparents, my grandmother lived to be 100 years old. She went no more than the 4th grade. I'm Dr. Hood. When I sat down with her, she was Dr. I mean, and there was no doubt about that.
Did she treat you as someone whose opinions and what you knew were as valuable and that she could learn from you too?
No, but this is the difference here. See, the difference is this. In life, there's an order. She was here first. So my job was to listen and ask her questions.
Maybe learn.
I don't completely agree with that.
No, but I'm just trying to explain to you though. See, it's like this. Okay, the premise is that as an elder, I'm going to be leaving first. So the premise is I'm trying to get all I can out to you. Okay, so now you're going to be elder one day, then you get a chance to have all your individual opinions. See, in other words, we don't have the patience. It's I want to tell you, you can't teach an elder nothing because you have not lived long enough to teach an elder anything, regardless of what you think you know. Because they saw you were born. You were born under their watch. So you can't.
There's no reason for me to be here because you all are older than me. So I'm just here to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're going to become an elder too. No,
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that.
No, you're going to become an elder as well. See, that's what I'm trying to say. You're going to be an elder right now.
I understand
At your age, you're an elder to somebody.
You are absolutely correct.
So you're an elder to a 16-year-old, you're an elder.
I am, but I believe I can learn from that 16-year-old and that 16-year-old.
But that's part of the problem, though. Speaking about, if you're going to speak correctly, you're going to learn how to live, okay? How are you going to teach? What are they going to teach you? How to use the telephone?
Yeah.
How to use the television? Yes, they can do that. But when it comes to life, then that's a different dynamic.
Okay.
That's what
I don't agree with you, but I do understand what you're saying.
I'm just saying is that it's not mine. I mean, I'm trying that's the order of life. That elders, when elders spoke, you listen. No, when elders came in, you can take my seat. I mean, see, when we get into a point where we think that what we have to say is more important than the elder, that's out of order. That's not orderly. Mm-hmm. See, that's what I'm saying. And you, myself, I cherish when I grew up. It was an honor for me to sit around the older guys. If they let me sit around and listen to them, that was an honor. But today, young people,
they don't want that.
They don't. See, so that's what I'm trying to say. That's what the order, because I knew I wanted their okay. I wanted them to say, okay. So they let me sit around. So therefore, that gave me, because it was a rites of, you call them a rites of passage. And see, that's what we're talking about now. There's no order. There's no order.
Well, but in April's, not defense, but you can learn from youth, but you have to be able to pick and choose. It's like picking through a berry patch.
I feel the same way about learning from elderly people.
Well, that's true.
And it is true, and it's not that I think my opinion is more valuable.
But opinion is interesting. Or opinion is like sphincters. Everybody's got one.
Yes, I get that.
Everybody's got one.
I get that.
The fact is the opinion doesn't have any bearing on truth.
Right.
Opinion doesn't necessarily mean truth.
Right, exactly.
Either way.
Yes, ma'am.
From the youth or the elder.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But the only difference is that, I mean, I think most times, if we look at law is based upon
tradition and
okay, and you know, like I said that okay, this case and so took place, and so that sets the precedent. That's the precedent. So now it might change, okay, and that's what I'm trying to say. That the whole point is that how can you prove something that you don't even understand? So the elder has to teach you. The elder has to teach you what exists.
So what do you do with Greta Thunberg and the kids from Orlando who stood up and said we are going to demand gun change because their schools have been shot up and the adults weren't doing it?
You don't think no elders taught them that? You don't think
I don't
evolution is
know.
something? I can tell you. Yes. Now, are we saying that all elders are not wise? All elders, I mean, my point is, though, is that it's just like when you go to school, you're looking at some precedent, you're reading those books. You're going to go into class and teach the teacher? Is that you want to go to your college class and go teach the teacher?
As a teacher, I learn from every one of my students.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, it sounds like it is what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm trying to tell you. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you go in the classroom, the teacher wants to facilitate all you to think. But the whole point is that they want to let you know what the convention is. They want to let you know what is come before you. Then you can take it and do it. Because remember, you're going to build that world after them. So the only thing they're trying to say is that take this. Now, you got to build this world. Now, if you want to say, well, I don't want to listen to you, I just want to start building this world. Okay? So you can't learn from my errors.
I think this is really hard because it's like many things, and I think about racism, and lots of white folks saying I'm not racist, but by being in this country and by virtue of the color of my skin, I have privilege that I can't deny, and so there is a way in which I individually fit into this systemic order that is part of our country.
But again, it's a cultural dynamic.
Right, and so there's the systemic or the global or universal kind of concept I think that we're talking about, as well as the individual, because we can all talk about people who are elders who were horrible people, maybe,
Well, I think of one right now that I don't respect.
Folks younger than us who are so much wiser than I am in many, many ways. And so I know that that's part of what you're saying, April. I'm really intrigued, though, with what you're saying, and I'm thinking that it's the order. It's the, because I have come before you, I have lived longer. Obviously, all of us have different experiences. And so the value of what I have to impart to someone younger than me, that's a crapshoot. but there is something there, I think, about just that general respect of
the Bible is your elder.
But then it's got to be true.
But there's some things in the
and it's
Bible.
not.
Again, when I say that they're right, what we're saying is that's where you start from.
Because you can't finish a sentence.
Yes. All right. And so April just made the point that I was speaking and you all started speaking. So I would like to finish my statement.
Go right ahead.
But if I forget what I said, because I tend to do that. But I do think there is just kind of in the order, the evolution, the human condition, human existence, that there is an opportunity for someone younger to learn from someone older. That there's a respect that needs to be there, but it's a respect that we need to be having with one another of the same generation. Absolutely.
Well, that's my
younger
culture.
children.
That's my culture.
Right.
That's my culture tradition. Elders, my culture tradition, elders.
But you don't dismiss out of hand what April's searching for. If you ran across an 11-year-old with some great, passionate wisdom, you would not overlook him. It's just saying that from a broad dynamic, general, you start out with the elders teaching the younger. And every now and then you'll find somebody amongst the youth that's worth listening to. Not everybody, old or young, is worth listening to.
Amen.
Right, and that's what the whole point is, that a good elder, like a good anybody, the whole point is that
there's responsibility that comes with that
with
respect.
The respect,
knowledge,
and it needs
wisdom,
to be
responsibility.
In the order of
that's right.
You have to model to teach.
That's right.
You're to me, teacher. You never said that. The first thing that I learned.
You modeled it to me.
I'm an elder though. Right.
That's not my culture.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But one of the first things you learn when you go to higher academics, when you get to the doctoral level, is to learn. You learn not what you know, but how to ask the question. It's the question. So that's what guides you, is being able to know what questions to ask. Okay, so the only thing I'm saying is that when you go, when you operate in knowledge, when you talk to an elder, they're a treasure, they're a book that you draw out of them. Then you process it, then you ask them a question. Or you say, you give them thoughts based upon that. I'm saying that way life is protected and preserved. But at the point whereby, that's what I say now, but the point whereby the youth feel that the elders are not valued in that order. It's just like babies and elders. You judge your civilization on how you treat your elderly and your children. That's how you evaluate your society.
The weakest. You judge how you treat the weakest, whether they're the elders or they're the children. And the children are our future. We need to treat them the way we want them to be.
Now they're prey. Now the elders and the children are prey. See? That's because they don't honor the elders.
Well, I think the elders have to deserve the honor and the respect. Well, just because they're an elder, that doesn't mean I have to respect them.
I think the elderly, regardless,
you have to start with a basic premise.
Yeah.
I don't agree with
just
that.
a general courtesy.
That's a basic premise. Thereafter,
For everyone.
Not just for the elders.
Well, I agree with that.
Respect for
Everyone,
one
not just the
another.
elders. Yeah.
I mean, and if that's the constant, and if that's a given, then I think we can have this conversation about elders probably in a more meaningful and applicable way.
But to have the text, and my point is this, to have the Bible, that's an elder. To have the Torah, that's the elder. To have the Quran, that's the elder.
8:38, and this time. You don't have to end it. I just wanted to inform you, just in case.
That I would never
Get our official time over, so if anybody has time to go home and everything at this time, so feel free. Otherwise, we can continue.
Last
and
question.
Also, we still have cake and snacks.
Please eat the food.
Last question that's going to come around is that what can we do together to create a stronger community?
Yes, and there's a survey that is on the table that we need you to fill out. If you have time now, you can do it, that would be great. And if not, it will be emailed to you.
I've never talked back.
Or you can go on the website.
Oh well.
I forgot.
We have lots of things to do next year.
And the youth did not vote for him.
Say you told the story.
So it's important for your voice to be heard this way. The bigger surveys are great. Now, if you filled out the sheet that went around your tables, or if you'd rather have it on your phone, you may text OTT chat to 797979, and it'll miraculously appear on your phone. So text OTT chat to 797979.
Yeah, OTT on the table.
Betsy, do you want people to fill out this survey just once during the day? Okay, so you did it earlier.
One more announcement.
Okay, my name is Sally Sullivan. I was CBM, one of the people helping us together. I did not help with this together, really, just a organization. You also received another small thing like this. If you haven't received it at your table, you can come see me. I have a few extras. If you can fill this out, this is for our local community. We're just trying to see kind of who comes to these things, and we're trying to learn about what diversity means to you. So if you can take a look at those couple questions. And then this table right here, the one that's empty by the front door, if you could just drop it on that table as you're headed out tonight, I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions or anything.
We need some forms of
Sure, you need some forms. If you have any other questions, I'll be sitting at that table over there. I'm happy to answer questions. Thank you.
So the last question, I think is number 5 over here. Basically, this
So
was.
as I said, it has been really great. I've been going around listening, and it's so lovely. It's everybody from introducing yourselves, talking about yourselves, and different faith or belief and everything. So it's tremendous. It's great. I think just by being here, you have just made it great. Right. And just one more thing to keep in mind, any actions, as I've told some of you, that you can find out, figure out that could be anything that we can take, all of us, that we can do together to bring us together. We were talking about we have built a Habitat house together, three faith communities. So maybe even if it is just to get together and break bread and talk and everything. So any of that, make sure that you put that on the survey. And I want to.
I just wanted us all to thank our Muslim neighbors, Masjid al-Jama and Masjid al-Nur.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you all. So again, as I said, it's end, but if you want to continue, feel free and talk, and also don't forget about the food. Thank you so much. I want to thank Master General for allowing to have this here, and all the sisters that from both Master Noor and Master General that provided the food and everything. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you again for all of you to be here.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Jealous. Once again, thank you Ronnie and Sherry for passing the word on and helping to organize this. We have just little goodie bags for everyone, so we'll do that at the sign up table where you sign in. Please pick one up on your way out. Thank you.
Let's choose a problem facing our community, a region, and discuss. The problem.
How can we get together and create a stronger community? That's less specific than what you just said. What are you asking?
Okay, you want to do this one? What can we do together to create a stronger community?
That's a great question.
What sheet are we looking at?
I'm sorry.
What can we do together to create a stronger community?
Hi, my name is Felicia L. Hamilton, and you're watching New Way to Live TV.
Difference in your life.
I like the dry reading start here.
I'm not sure enough.
Yeah, want to make sure everybody
Well, it'd be hard for just our table to talk about it, but maybe like the Habitat house that we built 30, 20 years ago.
Oh, more than that.
When your church is feeding Sunday, maybe we can do something. The regular congregations do something together on a regular basis to address the homeless.
And also I want to thank Sister Sarah in this picture.
We did. Do any of y'all
Thank her for
you turn the mic back?
preparing all the tables and chairs. Sarah, thank you very much.
know why he does that. He went to Auburn.
Do y'all participate in the food bank at St. Thomas, Winton Network?
At Winton Neighborhood.
I do.
By donating.
By donating.
I participate downtown because there's Trinity, First Presbyterian, and St. Luke, and we have an uptown food pantry. I started out at St. Thomas, but when that was formed, since my church was part of it.
What about the reading program? One of the schools has a reading program that Temple Israel sends people down and read English to these kids that barely speak it. Maybe something like that be worthwhile at some school level.
I think people are individually, drawn to different sorts of service and outreach, and I guess maybe throwing a twist into it would be, I want to go serve at Trinity. Maybe I'll call or email you and ask you if you want to come when I come, so that it's changing it up a little bit from the way we do it. CVEM has a team of folks, an interfaith team. They're from the co-planners for TAP, and we're looking at ways to bring adults together. I'd love to do it monthly. I think quarterly is probably the most is a more realistic goal to begin with. But would you all be willing to be on the mailing list for that, the email list, just so you know? I mean, we're wanting to learn from each other about each other's scriptures and worship, but also just opportunities to eat together and socialize, and and then when I see you at Publix, I'll go, oh, hey, how are you doing? We'll know each other.
Is there a Facebook page?
There's not.
Are you kidding? You young people, have you ever seen one of these?
That's a flip phone. Let us pray.
So I figured that way we can stay in touch with each other. A group, Facebook group, a Facebook group.
Yeah. You're in charge of that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
A Facebook group, that we could.
What does that mean?
Chat group.
You know what Facebook is.
Yeah. I'm challenged by finding an electronic platform for these kinds of things, but I'm looking for it. So I'll let you know, and you'll let me know if you have. I'll look at that Facebook group.
Information dissemination.
Another thing that we all could help with, I mentioned it just very briefly, Pasamigos.
Yes.
That is helping with the detainees down at the horrible place in Stewart County when they're released, to get them. They get to Columbus, either at Groom or the Greyhound bus station. To get them further north, we could all, because we take turns, like maybe Monday night will be my night and I'm on call. If they release Monday through Friday, not Saturday and Sunday, and we never know how many.
What do you do with them?
We take them first and give them a meal, and then in the wintertime, they're released with the clothes that they came in wearing. Of course, they get uniforms down there, and then we give them a coat, we give them a backpack. If you don't know Rita Ellis, I've got her phone number. You need to call her. It's a wonderful thing that we're doing for these detainees. And then there's a El Fugio. That's a home in Lumpkin where, like, if you want to come and visit your person, you have a place to spend the night, because Lumpkin has zero. They've got one little restaurant, two restaurants, but no hotel accommodation.
St. Thomas goes down.
I go. I've been twice with them. Oh yeah. I've been twice with them.
Once a month on the third, I think it's the third Thursday of the month, St. Thomas takes a group down to El Refugio, which is a hospitality ministry for folks who have family members detained at Stewart. And then you get to go to Stewart, and if, depending on the numbers and whatnot, you could visit with somebody who doesn't normally have someone who comes to visit them. So it's very powerful. It's very needed.
And he with his Spanish would be ideal.
All kind of languages we need interpreters.
Do you know about El Refugio down in Lumpkin? It's in Stewart County by the Stewart Detention Center, and then
Tengo conocimiento porque en el Templo Israel tuvimos un médico que servía allá.
No habla español.
He sends a doctor. His temple sends a doctor there.
No, we had a member of our congregation that used to be the doctor there.
Oh, that used
used to be the doctor.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
But anyway, they like hot-looking women.
So I shouldn't.
Absolutely, you should be there when they get released.
I appreciate you placating me with a compliment about my attractiveness.
Yes.
Listen, if I go, you're going.
Well, I tell you what, once I can take a day off from my job.
My name is Farhad Ali Farhani, and I'm from the Muslim community of Columbus. We had, this is the third on the table conversation that's happening in Columbus, Georgia, that has been led by Community Foundation of the Chattahoochee Valley. And this time, the three faith community of Christian community and Jewish community and Muslim community, we came together several months ago, and we decided, to have this on the table of this year, 2019, in the Masjid al-Jannah, which is the Islamic community of Columbus, and hosted in here. And we are so delighted that everybody's here. We had a good crowd, and the conversation that was going on in here, we were talking about getting to know your neighbor, and there's so many things. I was walking around and listening to the tables, what people they were talking about, and this was absolutely tremendous, and it was so heartwarming that to hear that everybody was so friendly and talking to each other, trying to get to know each other, and this is what we need in the community. Once we get to know each other, we kind of eliminate or minimize the misunderstanding that can cause separation and division. So this is a great achievement. We are so proud of this community, and also we are hoping that we can continue this gathering, and also we have talked about any actions that we can take together that we can improve, the condition that we are in Columbus, which is great. We want to make it great. So we thank everybody for participation, and also the Knight Foundation for this organizing this event, which is a nationwide event. Thank you.
So I'm Betsy Covington. I'm the president of the Community Foundation, and loving this event tonight. This has been a great day for our community, and I just really appreciate seeing the ways in which people in our community saw opportunity on the table to deepen a relationship or start a relationship or talk about something that's been on their heart and they didn't really have a formal way to do it. When we were offered the opportunity of participating in On the Table as one of these 10 cities around the country to do this 3.5 years ago now, we said yes because we are big believers in the power that individuals have to shape the community that they want. And we think that people in today's time unfortunately need something of an excuse to come together and sit down and talk to each other in real meaningful ways. And On the Table is nothing but a tool that gives us a way to do that. So I know I've participated in now 4 fantastic discussions today that I was able to say some things that I wanted to say, but I think even more important, I was able to hear some things that I needed to hear that will make me a better Community Foundation leader, a better grant maker, a better partner in trying to figure this community out, and I mean, frankly, a better person. So this has been really cool. We don't know what's next for us. I think we really value input from this community about what On the Table might look like in the years ahead. There are a lot of ways to do it, and we'll be kind of considering all of those. But appreciate the chance to come together, and what a great event tonight. Thanks.
Now, before you put that out, I would like to ask you one question.
You are going to ask me a question.
Yeah, I have to do that.
I have to answer something.
Right. Okay. Is this something that youth will remain a part of, or is this something you say, well, could community be lit the fire, now you take it and run? What's your vision for?
That's kind of the $1 million question right now.
Okay.
Our commitment with Knight Foundation that has helped to make a lot of this possible was to do this for 3 years, and this is the 3rd year. A lot of us at the Community Foundation will be very sad if it doesn't continue in some iteration, right?
Okay.
Maybe it's not annually, maybe it's every other year. It can look different, but I like the idea of some kind of day when people intentionally come together.
Okay.
So it's something that our board is going to be talking about. The 10 cities that have done this for 3 years will gather in Miami at Knight's headquarters in February and have this conversation.
Okay.
I'll be hearing what's happening in other cities, maybe about some ideas, but if people have ideas or input, we want to hear it.
Okay. Now, since you've been doing this, what are the top 3 issues or challenges that have come out of this Columbus community?
So part of where we're pulling this from is the survey that a lot of these people have just completed. So the data for that, one of the questions is, what do you think are the top issues our community needs to address? I think is the way it's worded.
Exactly.
And in the previous 2 years, the top vote getter, ready? Public safety.
Okay.
The second one is sort of the second and the third one all rolled in together. It's an iteration of good jobs, economic mobility, poverty. It's real concern about how people can move forward in our community well. And one of the things we did this year, in case you want to play with this, on the onthetablechat.com website, there are conversation guides, one for public safety and one for poverty and economic mobility. So if groups want to sit down around those issues, those conversation guides have data about our community. They have a set of questions that can prompt a good conversation, and then they also have links that people can use to learn more.
So are there task force or something like a task force that you have set up around those?
No, because that would mean we're driving the community action, which is really the idea for On the Table is to empower individuals and organizations in the community to do things.
To set up task force and things of that
sort. Sure. I mean, there's some things that are happening in our community around poverty. I think we probably need a little more attention to public safety, particularly right now, where people are really concerned and scared.
Right. Exactly.
So there's a lot of this that we don't have all the answers to, but the Community Foundation never came to this because we have all the answers. We came to it to learn just like everybody else.
Now, let me ask this last question. What has the community been representative, in terms of ethnicity, socioeconomic levels? How do we need to work on in the areas to get some people at the table that have not?
You know that's a leading question.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, it's been perfect. We've been an utter representation of every demographic in our community.
It's there.
It is. I will tell you that I have learned. I guessed this going into this, but I have absolutely learned it. It takes more invitation to certain segments of our community than I realized it did. Because when you don't have trust, the idea of, please come and let's sit down and have an honest conversation, that sounds like a trap.
Right. It does. And I have to admit, this is my first one.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I've sent people, but
you and I'll talk about that later.
Right. But I was, Fahad, when he asked me, he said, look, I want you to lead a table.
I'm glad
I said, okay, so that's why I'm here today.
So what did you think?
Well, for me, I think it's good, but I think obviously we need more of it because, it's just that I think that people are not accustomed to taking off the guards
That's so
and
true.
saying, look, I want to listen to you as opposed to staking out my position.
Yes.
You know, let me,
Yes.
I want to understand your position. I think but we need to have more practice in that.
This is not a public meeting.
Right.
This is a conversation.
Right. Exactly. Well, I want to hear your perspective.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that type of thing.
I agree with you.
Okay.
So let's figure out how to do that better, because one day I would love to be able to say, why, yes, these conversations are absolutely representational.
Call me.
You're so great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Always.
So I just realized I should.
Hello everybody, this is Johnny Newsom with Financial Solution and Associates, and you're tuned into New Way to Live Network.
What a day. I tell you, it wasn't perfect in terms of everybody getting along, but again, it was a great occasion. I enjoyed this. This is my first time participating. I've sent people before, but again, I hope that you enjoyed as well. But again, thank you for being with us. And if you want more visions now with Power to the People News, then just let us know. Call 706-221-4830. If you want to have us come out for a special event that you're having, give us a call, 706-221-4830. That's what it's all about, okay? And by the way, we got some new books that you can read about some of the same problems that you heard discussed today. And of course, that's Euphoria Books and Wellness House. So as always, give us a call. We're there for you. Thank you, and I'm going to get some rest because they have worn me out. Peace, soul, and power. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Juan Lane, and thank you for tuning in to this station, New Way to Live. Listen, we can't do it without your help. We need you to send your donations in today. This is how this station operates, and we're trying to do the very best for you and your family. With the production that we have, we are really giving it our all, but we cannot continue it without your financial support. So please send your offerings in to P.O. Box 3615, Columbus, Georgia 3631903, in care of New Way to Live, and we'll make sure that we get it on so we can keep this great program going. If you and your family are enjoying it, we pray that you continue we pray that you send us a offering that we can continue it and do the very best for you. Also, make sure that you watch our public education program. This is a very special program where it can help you prepare for your next test. The public education program right here on New Way to Live. Thank you. Did you know that in today's society, your credit score is like a vital sign in the hospital? It's being monitored at all times. If not by you, certainly someone else is monitoring your credit. It can have various impacts over your life. It can impact your insurance premiums as well as your interest rates. You can be denied the ability to rent a home, purchase a car, get a credit card, or even more, you can be denied employment. Did you know that over the course of your lifetime, less than an excellent credit rating could cost you over $150,000? 20% of credit reports have errors on them, causing lower credit scores. But did you know this? The Fair Credit Reporting Act gives all Americans, including you, the right to dispute and or investigate any item on their credit report. Inaccurate, erroneous, or obsolete items such as late payments, charge-offs, foreclosures, judgments, repossessions, bankruptcies, tax liens, collections, short sales, medical bills, and many other items can be removed from your credit file or can be updated to reflect paid as agreed. Hey, you don't have a minute to waste. Call me today at 706-366-5520. Again, that's 706-366-5520. Let's get started increasing your credit score.